All right guys, welcome back to Airohz Archery. Today we're going to be doing some scouting stuff to kind of switch it up. We are in our hardwoods at one of the properties that my buddy's nice enough to let me hunt. So huge thank you to him and letting me do all this stuff to prep for it and constantly be at his house. We got one blind on us right now in the back. We got a pair of clippers or loppers and just a garden rake. We're going to go in this set of pines over here. We're going to clear out a nice area so the inside of the blind's clear. We're going to show you one we already have set up that my other buddy, thank you to him as well for letting me borrow that blind. And we're just going to kind of show you certain setups that I have for filming and how I'm going to approach filming for turkey hunting this year. And we're also going to show you how I'm going to move about and what I'm going to do if those blinds don't work on the rainy days or the days where I got someone filming and I'm just hunting by myself. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's get into our first spot where we're going to put this big 5-sided pentagon blind up, and let's see what we can set up for you. We are up here on top of this bench. This property actually has 2 benches and 3 massive pinch points that we'll pan over and show you here in a minute. One thing you want to be careful of, especially when you're setting up blinds, and in this case a 5-sided pentagon blind, which is typically a 4-person, 3-person minimal usually for the amount of people you can fit in it. That means it's going to be a big blind. I'm going to actually put it where you probably wouldn't typically think I would put it, and it's going to be right here in this open space, but I'm going to close it up into these little group of trees that we got going on here, and I'm going to help brush it in. And the reason that I'm in the middle of this bench to do that is because this all drops down. We have big pines there, which is typically where they're going to roost. I have a way to get around that if I know and I hear those birds that are right on top of the blind, and I can come all the way up here, walk the property line, and then come in. You got to remember too, with any type of hunting, you want to make sure that you're taking the routes that are going to guarantee you success, not the short routes that are going to get you to the blind and say I went out. That is not going to get it done for you if you're looking to put a bird on the ground or a deer or whatever it may be. So take the hard route, put the time in to figure out different routes if something trips up your way of getting in. So we're going to bundle this thing up here. I got a garden rake and the clippers I talked about when we started the video. We're going to rake all this out, set the blind up. We're going to make sure there's no noise on the inside. I'm going to clip any little twigs and saplings. We're going to take any surrounding brush that matches the blind. We're going to get it in here. We'll show you how we're going through the progressions to get it set up and how I like to have them set up. And I typically, for turkey hunting, I don't really hunt out of a blind all that much, but this year with the filming and the amount of stuff that we got to get into the blind, or if it rains, I have multiple options. So this is going to kind of be my starting point if I know there's birds near the blind, and then I'm going to progress away from them and chase those birds to where I hear them. So without further ado, I'm going to go grab the rake. We'll get this cleaned up and we'll see you back here in a minute with our finished setup, or starting to finish our setup. All right guys, so now you can see we have a big perimeter cleared out. A lot of people will tell you if you're gonna rake this area out, be as quiet as you can. We're in here a lot earlier than I usually am. We're only on the 5th of April when we're doing this. So my strategy is come in quiet, take your time. If you see birds or deer, let them mosey off. Don't throw caution into the wind and just say, oh my God, it's not during the season. Let's throw all the basics out. I do have gloves also that are in my sweatshirt over there that I typically use, but because this is in such an open area where wind is always flowing, I didn't really worry about the scent too much. Even though we are turkey hunting, they don't have great smell. Their eyesight is their way to stay alive, and that's their alarm if something goes wrong. But the gloves help to eliminate the scent and keep deer comfortable in here, which in turn will keep a lot of other animals a little less high-strung and not as much on edge. So anything that can help, use it. Now that we've got this cleared out, I did it quick. I want to get these in. I want to get out of here as quick as possible, let these air out for a month, and let everything get used to these structures, if you will, in their living room. We're in their house right now, so we have to make these blend in the best that we can with what we have, the time we have. and the things we have available to make sure that our success is as high as it can be, and we can just minimize all the errors as far as gear goes and just work on our woodsman skills and being a hunter. So especially when you're turkey hunting. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna set this bad boy up. I'm gonna play around with it a little bit, see how quick I can tuck it into here and how nice I can make it. We got an old brush pile right there. I think we're gonna pull some of that stuff off and we'll secure it around, and then we'll show you how that goes. So we'll be back in just a second once we get this up. All right guys, so we got the blind up. We got it set in our little circle we went and raked out and clipped all the saplings underneath so you're not tripping when you get in the blind, making extra noise that you don't need to. This is quite a big blind. It's actually bigger than I was expecting, but we're gonna roll with it. We're gonna use this for here. I can see down on that side of the bench. I can see on this side of the bench. I can see any birds that would come forward. And I also have a great shot downhill. So yes, this is in the open, but we're gonna make this look as good as we can with what we have here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around, continue raking the outside, because there is some on the back side where I have it tucked in I didn't get to. We'll cover this back up the best we can in front of us. We're going to stake it down. I open every single window on this and leave the netting on it. Reason for that is because that'll allow air to get in and out of there. Scent can come out and go where it needs to go. And not only that, that's how you're going to be hunting out of it. So you don't want to leave the windows up typically, and that's what I've learned as a rule of thumb, because you're not going to be hunting with these windows up. So condition the birds and condition everything walking around it to get used to it with those down. And that should help you out tremendously. So I'm going to hop in the blind now. I'm going to make sure I can see all the places that I want to see for this particular spot. I'm going to stake it in the ground, do the final move around, and then rake anything out on the inside that still might be in there. So I'm going to do our walk around, just make sure all the Velcro is on it. I already did the other side, so we're good there. So let me hop in the blind and I'll drop all these down so you guys can see that. And I moved the door to this side because my windows weren't where I wanted them. So make sure your door is in a spot where you can get in without being seen. For instance, it's tucked up against this bundle of trees. So if a bird was right here as I'm getting in the blind, I can tuck behind the tree until he's out of the way or I can get in. So that's on this side, so I'm gonna hop in and we'll drop those. So we're in the blind now. If you look in the corner here, you can see that there's still some leaves here, but pretty much all clear on the ground. I got plenty of room to stand up, so even if I want to bow hunt out of this one, I can. So there's just these little strap clips on the side here. All you do is take these down and drop them. If you don't want to drop them all the way, that's fine. Just drop them enough so you can get some type of air in here. I like to have them all the way down almost, and these peeled back. And then what I do when I get in here right now is I leave the Velcro on, but I peel it, so I'm not making all that noise in the morning when I get in here. This thing should be ready to go as if you're gonna hunt tomorrow. This one, I usually kind of jerry rig through this little strap here. I pull it tight, up and out of the way, high enough for me to get a shot, not high enough to expose me to anything that I don't need to be exposed to. This one can come off a little bit more. I leave those just the way that is there. Like you said, getting air in here. And I'm gonna go around and do that for every side, and then we'll bring it back when I get that little bit out quick. And then we're gonna show you the blind we already have set up. Then we're gonna jump over and throw one more up. So we're in for a good video. All right guys, so all of our windows are set up. I decided to leave some of these closed up here because I have a big enough window and there's enough sides on this blind for me to get different shots. So if I think something's different after, or I need to change something after the first couple sits, I can do that. After I'm getting ready to leave. Cool little hack, leave that bag here for the blind. You can put anything else you need in it. Other thing I do is the first day I come out, if I'm here doing an all day sit, I'll bring snacks with me and I'll leave a few snacks like granola bars and stuff in there in case I ever forget anything or I get hungry, and anything of that nature. So that's a cool little thing to do to keep yourself prepared. We got the stakes right now. We got most of the leaves kicked out. Before I go kicking all the leaves out and wasting my time with this thing wanting to shift because it's not staked down, we're gonna go around, stake the whole blind down, and then I'll come underneath it with the rake and I'll get the rest of this crap out. And then the only thing we need to bring in here is a blind chair, our camera equipment, and game face to hunt. So we'll get this down. The next blind we'll show you. We'll talk about the next blind we did a couple weeks ago. And then when we get to the last blind, we're just gonna do the same process. So we'll keep that one moving pretty fast. So All right, let's get into it. Now another thing, guys, while I'm doing these stakes, this is the doorway. Try to space them out so you don't trip, and face the stakes in so you don't trip over those either. And leave this open when you leave so you don't have to do any zippering to get in and out. You can just slip in, zip it halfway, and then you're good to go. Stomp them in pretty good. Don't want this big blind going anywhere like a parachute. And then our tie downs, I like using the tie downs. I don't know what I did with the rest of the stakes. No, I didn't. Okay. Keep the spares in here in case one pulls out or you lose one. Throw that right back in your bag. All right, we're gonna go to the outside, tie this down, we'll rake her out, and we're good to go. All right, guys, so the easiest way to do this, there's so many ways to do this. There's a right way, there's a wrong way, and I just do it whatever way to keep this thing secured. So I ran this loose end for the strap, which is what those other stakes go to, through this little hole here. I pull it till it's to the end, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and double knot this as close as I can so I have as much slack as possible to keep this blind down tight. I'm just gonna double or triple knot this to that. I usually triple knot them just to make sure there's no slipping. Make sure they're snug. And then what I do is I take this out here, straight line from this, and I'm going to anchor it to the ground with that stake, and I'm going to do that on all 5 sides. So once we do that, we're just raking and we're out. It is a little windy out here, so I'm going to speak up a little bit. The blind's brushed in. I knocked some stuff down out of the way. It's not obstructing any of our shots looking out. We have all the windows open we need open. I went underneath, raked the rest out. As you can see, it's not bare here anymore. I fluffed it out and kind of made the blind look like it's sitting a little farther down. I might do some tweaking with this, but for today, this will be good. If any of this blows off or any of it moves, then we'll come up with a plan B. But for right now, for the first setup, I got everything all the way around the blind. I bent these 2 trees over that were half dead anyways, and then just kind of left them on the top. That'll stop the blind from wanting to lift. Who wants to lift it all? Our cables are in the ground. We're secure there, and we're secure on the inside with the stakes. So the whole thing is good to go. We're gonna jump over, look at the other blind, and then we're gonna set one more up. We're gonna end this video, and hopefully you guys learned a lot from it. All right, guys. So instead of going all the way up here on that hill, I'm just gonna kind of show you what we got going on for where the other blind was set up, the one we just did, and the one I was gonna show you. It is all the way up at the top there, and I forgot that we have to go back to the truck and go all the way to the other side of the property to get this other one in. So I can throw a little snippet in, or I'll show you a picture of that exact blind, or we'll figure something out so you guys can see that. If not now, we'll do it at a later date. But if you look right here in front of us, we're in a big drainage. We just came off this hill to our right, just past this man-made tree stand that's been there for a long time. So we're up on top of that. We dumped down into another drainage, so I can see everything from this drainage and the other drainage, or pinch point, if you will, on the other side. That blind is on this second bench up here at the very top of the hill in the middle of those 2. And there's another shallower pinch on the other side of this, another bench. So we're gonna go to the 3rd bench over. So 1, 2, 3. And we're gonna go set up the 3rd blind, and we'll show you that other blind sometime soon. So now we are at the 2nd spot where we're gonna put our blind up. We have a big clearing down here that my buddy's dad's been working on. Might eventually see if I can put a food plot there, because it's a pinch point between another field and this field, and now we have adequate clearing here. I'm just worried that that's not going to really help me all that much, because we got food, and not a lot of cover. So the only reason I think that might help me is if this stuff grows back in the fall. That'll help me with deer season. But speaking of turkey season, we're going to tuck this blind in here, hopefully, see how that goes. Trim some of the lower stuff. We got this opening in front of us. We got this road corridor from field to field to field that they travel quite a lot. So I can put the decoys right out here. Any birds on that field, because of the way the hill is, will hopefully be able to see us. Any birds down here below, if they hear us calling, are close enough to know what's going on. And then same thing for over the hill. We're not concerned too much this way, because I do have another blind up there. So we're gonna do everything we did with the first blind, we're gonna speed it up so we can get this video going, and we'll show you how that goes. We got the second blind up. This one took a little bit more time because of where I wanted it. It's kind of a little bit unlevel. I'm gonna come back and try to grade the inside with a rake and pull some down here in the future when I put cameras out soon. And then a little bit behind the 8 ball on the cameras this year, but we'll get them out for at least a month. And then during the season, so 2 months total. Tied in was a little tricky, but I still made it work. The blind's still decently covered. All my doors, well, my one door is open towards the front because of the way the blind's situated. All the brush is cleared around it for the most part. And then I have, because I'm coming in this way, this string is off to the side. I got 4 out, so it's secure, so it won't lift. It's staked down inside. On the inside, everything's all flipped and clear. So we're ready to get out of here and come back another day when we have a better game plan to fine tune them and to get some cameras out and go home and recharge our batteries. So that's that. We got 2 blinds in. One we're going to show you soon. I'll do another video when we do trail cameras and kind of show you how I position them, different from how I do with deer for turkeys, and I'll kind of show you how I do that and how that's worked for me and what you can do to try different things. So all in all, a really good day. Got a lot done. So we're just we're waiting on May 1st now. So thanks again, guys. It's been another great video, great day, and we'll get to other stuff soon.